All right, superlatives time. Myles Simmons, I'll give you first word, especially since I have yet to figure out what my superlatives are. Oops, I said it out loud. I'll figure it out while you tell me yours.
All right, well, let me talk for a while and let you vamp here. Let me see. So let's go to the Chargers and let's call it Herbert's the hero because the last couple of weeks, Justin Herbert's had an opportunity to bring his team back and win games. I mean, we saw it against San Francisco on Sunday Night Football. We saw it against Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. Couldn't get it done. But in this game against the Arizona Cardinals, they were able to do it. And we mentioned it in the last segment. You know, not only did they get the touchdown, but then they went for two. And so it's one of those things that we've been looking for Justin Herbert to do, right? Can he get it done when it matters the most? Can he make the plays in the most critical situations? And not only did he get that pass to Austin Eckler, that one was close. I mean, Arizona nearly got that tackle. And then with no timeouts, the Chargers might have been up a creek without a paddle. But he got the pass to Eckler. Then he got the pass to Gerald Everett. And that was able to help them win that game. And this is, like I said, it's the kind of thing that you want to see from Justin Herbert, where he's elevating the guys around him. He's getting it done when he has to do it the most. Now, are the Cardinals the same caliber team as San Francisco, Kansas City? No, they're not. But at the same time, you have to stack the blocks somewhere, right? You got to play the teams that are on your schedule. And I think it's a really good thing that Herbert was able to get that done yesterday.
Yeah, they had those two games in prime time where we all got to see them on NBC. One of the games was flexed in, that Chiefs game, but they were leading both against the 49ers and the Chiefs. Could have / should have won both of those games, lost both, and were at a crossroads. And not that they would have been done if they had lost last night, but the road gets a lot more difficult. They needed that. They needed to show everyone else and themselves that they could do it. And they got the Cardinals at full strength. Kyler Murray, well, for the most part, the offensive line is kind of a mess, and Rondale Moore and Greg Dortch were out, but they had Hollywood Brown back, DeAndre Hopkins back, Kyler Murray back, all three on the field together for the first time, all three healthy, and they had to fight back and win. So kudos to the Chargers for getting it done. I'm trying to think of a good play on Tuanon, and I had one, and now it's gone.
So you write it down.
Tua none better. Tua none. I don't know. Regardless, Tua was pretty damn good yesterday, and there's some good statistics coming out of it. 274 passing yards in the first half, the most by any Dolphins quarterback since Dan Marino back in 1991, when Myles was either not born yet or very, very, very young, because I don't know when in 1991 that was, but I know you were born in late September. Also, he has a Dolphins record of 174 pass attempts without an interception. Since he returned from his concussion, he is 5-0, and he has 11 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions. And they just embarrassed the Texans yesterday. And I understand the Texans are the worst team in the NFL, but the Texans have not been week in and week out horrible. It's only been recently where it feels like the wheels have come off, and they're still an NFL team. We see teams play down to the level of the opposition all the time. We just talked about the Ravens and the Jaguars. So you still have to go out and win the game. They're coming off of their bye. It's Thanksgiving weekend. There are plenty of potential distractions for the Dolphins. They could be slipping into that mode of all we have to do is show up and win. They could have found themselves in a problem. But they under Mike McDaniel, who somebody was saying this in the NBC viewing room yesterday, and I can't remember who it was. It may have been Matthew Berry. You know, why isn't he getting more buzz for Coach of the Year? Look, we don't really make the assessment until we get to the end of the season, but it's the coach who does the most in relation to what the preseason expectations were. And I don't know what I expected from the Dolphins, but they've exceeded whatever anyone could have reasonably expected, and they could still win the division. They win that division over the Bills, and I think you have to seriously consider Mike McDaniel for Coach of the Year.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, they control their own outcome in that division right now because they are currently leading the division via their tiebreaker over the Bills after beating them at home. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do on the road against Buffalo. I mean, that is one of those kind of red letter games. Where are they going to be when they have to play in cold weather? What is Tua going to be able to do when he does that? But I mean, there's not much really that bad you can say about Tua Tagovailoa's game, especially since he came off the injury. I mean, in games that he started and finished, the Dolphins basically don't lose. So I mean, I don't know. I'm like, well, Mike McDaniel maybe should be getting some of that buzz for Coach of the Year, but it's also a matter of like, would you have a coach that does the most with the least, right? And well, Mike McDaniel is doing the most with the most, I guess we could say.
But he's getting the most out of a guy that we had real questions about whether or not he was ever going to reach the levels that he has.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. And I mean, the most out of the most, by what I mean by that is Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So anyway.
Right. But still, somebody had to be the quarterback. Yeah. I'm amazed.
Exactly. No, he's got to do it.
I'm just amazed at what he's done with Tua. I'm amazed with with that.
Me too. All right. I'll go to Washington. We'll just call them the Washington winners because right now, I mean, they're playing a lot better than I ever expected, especially at the beginning of the season when they were just floundering. And some guy tweeted me and was like, the Commanders, their offensive line is so bad. And I was like, yeah, they stink. And so does Wentz, and the Commanders stink. And he got really mad at me. And I don't really care because that was just the way that I saw reality. But at this point, the way they're playing with Taylor Heineke at quarterback, he's making enough plays. They're playing a lot better defensively. We have to take this team seriously at this point. They won 6-7, Mike. Yeah, I never would have expected that. It's 7-5, they're 7th place in the NFC right now. All 4 teams, if the playoffs started today, which they do not, would be in the postseason from the NFC East. So, like I said, we just have to take this team seriously and think, hey, man, they can make some noise. Chase Young probably coming back this week. That's going to be another boost to that defense.
And I'm looking at the standings right now, the rest of the teams in the conference. Seattle is the one in best position to catch them for now. One of these other teams, though, we see it this time of year. Somebody in the vicinity of 500 gets hot. The problem is, I don't know how you define the vicinity of 500. Atlanta's 5-7, half game behind the Buccaneers in the NFC South. Everybody else has got 4 wins.
Yeah.
The good thing about having 17 games, you stay alive a little bit longer. Also, you can have the cream separate from the crap earlier too, and you get to the point where we kind of know who the bad teams are, and they've declared themselves. And in the NFC, when you look at the standings, you kind of figure out who's done, even if they're not mathematically eliminated. In lieu of another superlative, I do want to point this out because, and this is credit to Ron Rivera, a Coach of the Year candidate, because he has guided the SS Commanders through a sea of crap this year with all the distractions, all the issues.
Oh, yeah.
And players have even mentioned it. They've talked about how we need a fresh start. We need a reset. It's a distraction. How can it not be? When everybody's talking about Daniel Snyder this and Daniel Snyder that for good reason. And then yesterday, do we have the image of the Sean Taylor Memorial? Well, I mean, come on, man.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the big hat. I was hoping you'd talk about the big hat.
I want to take the big hat. I want to take the big hat and put it over the Sean Taylor Memorial so no one has to see it. Here's the unveiling of the statue that will be it's a mannequin from Dick's Sporting Goods, for crying out loud. I mean, what disgraceful display, Daniel Snyder. This is on you because you ultimately own the team. And if you're not prepared to spend the money for a bronze statue of Sean Taylor, then just don't do anything. You've retired his number. They've honored him multiple times. If this is what you're going to do on the 15th anniversary of his passing, don't do anything. You've got the mismatched jersey, which is Nike. The pants are Reebok. The shoes are Adidas soccer cleats, for crying out loud. And you know what, Miles? I just feel like Dan Snyder takes advantage of any opportunity he can to give us all the middle finger and show the outdated logo and the outdated team name whenever he legitimately can, because I'm never changing the names. Put it in all caps. And you could have had a statue. There's that iconic pose of Sean Taylor on his knee. You could do that without any sign of any logo. You could do a bronze statue that is completely free of any reminder of the name that they got rid of for good reason, but is a constant, permanent, fitting reminder of Sean Taylor. And I hope that Jeff Bezos or whoever buys that team, first order of business, a real Sean Taylor statue that doesn't dust off gratuitously the outdated dictionary-defined racial slur name that I think the Snyders just love. Tanya Snyder did it a few weeks ago. She said it. Oh, we're celebrating the alumni. You see it on social media. That was the name. It's a historical fact. That doesn't mean we should be yelling it from the rooftops. Hey, it's a historical fact. That was the name of the team. Was the name of the team. Isn't for a damn good reason. And it's just another reason why you couldn't make that up. Like, that's an SNL parody. A living, breathing SNL parody of the Daniel Snyder decision as to what would be a good Sean Taylor memorial. I was stunned when I saw it. Even by the standards that I've come to accept with Dan Snyder, I was still stunned. So get the Brian Robinson big hat and just put it over everything.
Yeah, the Brian Robinson big hat made me laugh a lot. But that mannequin display. I mean, my God, look at that.
that looks photoshopped. That doesn't look real. How is it staying on his head?
His friends got a company with big hats, and so now I guess that we were all advertising that for him. But yeah, I mean that Sean Taylor tribute was really left something to be desired, and I agree with everything you said on that. I really do.
It left everything to be desired. There was nothing positive or admirable about it. By the way, can we show the Brian Robinson big hat again? I hope that Father Football is getting his taste, because that logo's on there, baby. They're going to see that, and they're going to shut that down. Cease and desist. Yep. They're going to come at you faster than the Peanuts are going to go after the Eagles and their album cover, unless they're getting their taste. If they're getting their taste, it'll be fine. But if they ain't getting their taste, that logo's coming off of there. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.